All right, with that, we have Chris and Kent.
So my name is Chris. Kent is also on the call. We're with Mapworks Learning. We're really quickly, we are a nonprofit that brings people together, middle, high school, university level, and even older populations together online. They work together, build friendships, global competencies, and work collaboratively on solutions to the globally pressing issues. And for us, what we're working on are the Sustainable Development Goals. With that being said, we've been doing this roughly for 5 or 6 years and found that many of the tools that are available are not adequate and do not meet the needs of the teachers and students. So our teachers and students helped us to develop a platform that we call Narrative Atlas, which we're going to show you, that brings together all of the tools that they are used to using, but putting them together into what we call sort of a one-stop shop. So what we're going to show you is a platform that we developed, which we use to support our programs. There are now many organizations, companies, and foundations that are also using the platform to run their exchanges. So with that, if you could go ahead and start. So this is just an example of a call to action that we have for one of our programs. It's around Earth Week. That's how we get people together. They join our programs. They walk through the activities. Classrooms are matched. We create private groups. There are a series of guided activities where moderators and teachers help facilitate those. Students investigate issues locally and globally, and then ideally students collaborate on those issues and present plans more or less to address those. And then the last step of it is more or less a presentation where the students, the teachers, where they present or exhibit their findings and solutions. The next slide.
Chris, is your target age K-12 or higher ed?
It's everything, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything. So we'll talk more about, so our program, we work with middle school, high school, and university school students and teachers. We've also worked with elementary as well. But many of the people that use our platform, they're 50 and they're working with adults who are 50 and 80 years old, so it's very different. So here's the platform. The platform is password protected. It's invite only. Next slide. When you log into the platform, you'll see in the upper left corner your profile. The profile we use as an icebreaker for students and teachers to have a chance to learn more about each other before they start collaborating and working together. The menu on the left is also accessible via the menu on the right as well for redundancy. So once you're logged in, the first thing that you're going to see is your group. If you're a teacher, typically you belong to 2 groups. For our programs, we first bring teachers on board. The teachers work together, learn with each other, and then design collaboratively the area of investigation that the students are going to work on. And next slide, please. And once you're in your group, this is sort of a snapshot of the home page of your group. This area in the center, basically, once you type in sort anything in that window, anybody and everybody in that group is automatically going to get an email notification. If you're to click on the camera, which is right next to post update, you can upload 30 images at once, either from your computer or from your smartphone or tablet. So this site is also mobile optimized. So if you access this via your mobile device, this will also pull up your library, but also it will pull up your the camera. And then next to that, you'll see a video camera. If you click on the video camera, this will allow you to instantly record a video within the platform. Remember, all of this is happening in the platform. You don't have to leave and go anywhere. So if I was to click on that camera right now, it would record a video. If you already had a video, it would also let you upload one. So this is really cool because the students that we're working with, for example, on a recent exchange, were in Tanzania. So this is a great way for the students to learn about each other before they start working together. Again, using that sort of term icebreaker. Icebreakers are a really great way to encourage collaboration, you know, and so, yeah, the video tool is a great way for it to do that. So, and you'll see there's threaded discussions. If I was to create a discussion, I could edit it, I could delete it. Next slide, please. So this is just an example of what it looks like if you're adding photographs. You can drag and drop 30. Next slide, please. So then the output of that would be a very cool light box, which pops up and you can comment on it. All of the photographs in a group are organized via albums. Next slide, please. And this is an example of a person responding to a student's comments. And this particular area of investigation, basically looking at mosquito populations in Guanacaste and Costa Rica. And this is a scientist talking about her work in Guanacaste around that. Next slide, please. And then if you were to press the record button, like I said, this is an example of the record window. You have the option of recording up to 5 minutes. And you can also, I believe, go up to 720 on that as well. 720 is the resolution of that. Next slide, please. And the other interesting thing, though, when you're in your group is you can post content from external sites. And it will actually display in the group. So this thing down here is a video from CNN. So I could post any link in this site and it will actually display it rather than showing up as a link. So it's nice, it works really well. If you're behind a paywall, it doesn't work well. Next slide, please. This is an example of, so we are on the home page of the group where we sort of have quick announcements. We have quick things that the moderators, facilitators want to share with each other. We also have something basically called activities within a group. And this is where you'd have structured inquiry or investigation around a specific topic. So anybody in a group, a teacher, a moderator, a student can create a topic within activities. And the way that we use this as a way to organize areas of investigation or group specific work. Next slide, please. And also within our site, we have the ability to create surveys. And so this is happening underneath our activities. So this survey was created as a way to gather information around mosquito populations in a specific area. So it's very cool. You can create all sorts of variations on surveys. It's great for scientific data collection, and it's also great just for your teachers, moderators, and even the students to be able to create questionnaires to address the areas that you're investigating. Next slide, please. Also, what we have within our site is, like Google Docs, we have a document creation tool, but it's not synchronous. So Google Docs is synchronous, meaning if Andrea or Roberto were on the document the same time I was, with ours, it would say, hey, Chris, Robin wants to edit this. Will you allow her? And I was, sure, yeah. So anybody in your group has the ability to create a doc, and that's built in, and you can also modify the permissions within that. And you can also add files to that particular document, a PDF, an Excel file, a recording. And so the way that we use this within our areas of investigation are if we're looking at climate change, we might, within the group, assign a couple of students to work on basically smaller group work. So once again, anybody in the group can edit it unless you are the creator and you want to change the permission levels of that. But once again, this is all built into the system. Next slide, please. Another tool that we have built into this, because we are Mapworks Learning and that's what it's around mapping. We have a built-in mapping tool, and the mapping tool allows anybody within the group to create a geographical map, a reference from point A to point B. And we use that as more or less as a student in Cairo is introducing sort of their, what they do on the weekends, what it looks like going to the souk or to the market. And so this right here is an example of a map that I created for this to show you a point of interest. So I created the content here, I added the photograph. It'll also show you the elevation. It'll also pull in the temperature and the barometric pressure from that location. For those interested, you can also export this and bring it into any device that supports GIS mapping, KML, GPX. Next slide, please.
There was a question.
So like I said, so Narrative Atlas is optimized for mobile devices so that we don't have an app, no need to. But I'll go into that after we're done really quickly.
Okay.
Also built into this, we have for collaboration, we have a collaborative video editor. So we have found though in the programs that we're running that a really great way to encourage collaboration is around the sharing and creation of multimedia, being it recording videos, creating videos, sharing maps. So with this, we have an API, we have a partnership with WeVideo. So this is basically a collaborative video editor where I can have 500 people simultaneously creating and editing videos. So this is built in. Next slide, please. And then the last thing we have is built-in video conferencing. So we've found similar to Skype, to Google Chat, to Zoom, they're very inefficient for the populations that we've been working with. Oftentimes you have to download packages to run your video conference, and if you clear your browser or cache, you have to keep on installing it. So we have a built-in video conferencing system. The only downfall of it is that we don't have dial-up because of the populations that we work with. We would have to have hundreds of phone numbers. So, but this supports chatting, screen share, and any of the moderators or facilitators of the group have the ability to start those conferences. Next slide, please. So this is just an example of if I was a moderator, I would be able to start that video conference and then invite anybody into it. Next slide, please. And that's it. Yeah. So once again, really quickly, we built this for ourselves, not for anybody else. And now people are using it. And we're here happy to answer any questions that you have. And yeah, we start with, why don't you guys unmute your mics? And I think we have, let's see. Does Narrative Atlas have a mobile app? It does not. We are mobile optimized, so it works on any device. Geolocation, we do have the ability for that, but because we work with middle, high school, and university level students, we have to be GDPR, FERPA, and COPPA compliant. So some of the partners that we work with do not want the geolocation feature enabled. But anyway, the cost. So the cost for the platform. So if you are working with us, if you are working on one of our programs, say if Andrea or Sarah wanted to bring their students and work with us on our climate change program, it's free, zero cost. But say if Claire wanted to use our platform to run their own exchange, there would be a cost. The cost varies depending upon the organization's ability to pay. We have institutions that we're working with in different parts of the world that cannot pay a cent, so we want to be able to allow them to use it as well. So the cost for them might be providing translation services for our self-paced tutorials that we have built into the system, or providing us with different sorts of opportunities to where we might be able to, jointly apply for a grant for funding. How do people interact in the video conference? The same exact way that we are here in Zoom. It's just you don't have to download a package. So can students in China have access to Narrative Atlas? Yes, remarkably yes, and in China and in Russia and in Iran. We have a very special engineer who's helped us put this together. The only thing that does not work really effectively in Iran right now is the mapping. The mapping works well, but what we also have, we have this tool is built with Google. So there's this little cool thing in Google that if you drop a person on the map, it'll follow the path. We can't do that in Iran right now. Is it possible to customize the tools that are offered, controls that different users have? Anything is possible, but we built it specifically for our programs. If, say, a partner organization wants to customize it, we consider that and to see how that affects our programs, and if it seems like a good fit, then we will build that. Participants can speak, share docs. Marina, can you?
I'm sorry,
clarify?
that was the second part of my first question about
Yeah.
how do people interact in the video conference. So my question was, are you able to speak or share documents also as a
Yeah.
participant?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can do that. And you can also
thanks.
share, I think, videos as well.
And also, I just wondered if the interface instructions to it can toggle between languages,
Yeah,
because it's
so
basically like an LMS.
great question. So, so in the pipeline right now, we are adding inclusive design tools to basically address the needs of people with different learning abilities, or not being PC right now, sorry, if you have disabilities. So we were going to be incorporating Amazon AWS Poly and Transcribe as well as Translate, so it will allow anybody with text to speech, speech to text, on the fly, modifying the site color, font size, and then we're also looking to localize the evergreen content of the site, whatever that means. It means the stuff, I guess, that doesn't, change. Um, and
Right.
and then the other big thing that we're really, I think, we're also very interested in OER. That sort of is what I've been doing and Kent has been doing for many, many moons. So basically we're very committed to all the content and the output of this being basically openly available, readily, for anybody, anywhere to reuse, to remix. And that just depends also. Some of the content can't be because of the people we're working with, but it's our goal in the end for all of the experiences and the content created and produced to be readily available and remixed. And then also the platform is open source. Doesn't mean that that I can just say, hey, Megan, here, take it, do what you want to. But it's modularly built to where you can really easily add on stuff or take it away. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay. Well, we had one last use case example that showcases products' impact on student learning outcomes. I guess it also means, what's the activities. You guys are providing the activities, or you're not, because you didn't go into this.
So just to, and I apologize for being redundant, because often I'm not clear. My wife says that. And we run a virtual exchange program. Our nonprofit, basically what we do is we run exchanges and bringing young people together online, right? And a great example of that project might be Chicago and Tanzania, a group of students on Lake Michigan and a group of students on Lake Victoria for 6 months investigated local and global water-based issues. They used the platform, the technologies to showcase their findings using the video record tool, using the collaborative video editor tool, using the document creation tool for documenting their findings. And then the end result, the end output basically was the idea of engineering a rainwater harvesting system for the school in Bukoba, Tanzania. Because what they determined was for the school in Bukoba, they had 650 students, one water access point, but they also had a lot of water, but no gutters. So they figured, the students in Chicago said, hey, we'll help you design a rainwater harvesting system to help you provide watering for your garden. So they collected, it was gray water more or less. So
they were already doing it.
So that's basically, they use the platform to connect, to collaborate, and to create a solution around that. We have several examples of other organizations that use it where I'm not able to really share too much, to go into too much detail, but one example would be we have a language learning program happening right now where Russian, Arabic,
Korean,
Mandarin, yeah, sorry, it's being used to teach language, and it wasn't designed for that. I believe it's working out pretty well. We also are talking with an organization that would provide basically a network of support to addicts. We're also working with an organization in Guatemala potentially to provide a network of support for indigenous populations around the world. We have We have several different examples, and they're
Yeah,
not,
you do. You got a lot going on.
but
Great.
if you guys are interested, we can do, you know, I'm happy to, Kent and I are happy to talk to you later, provide you, you know, do a live demo. We're all about collaborating and working together. So if anybody wants to connect later, please drop us a line, send me a note or Kent a note.